change. Brought to you by...
Looks like a new musical hit coming into town.
Please, Dad, I'm trying to do my homework.
So am I.
Maybe you can help me. What do you know about Caesar?
I think he's doing a new TV series.
Not Sid, Julius.
Oh, Julius Caesar. Knew him well. Packed the Coliseum with his animal leg.
Yeah, that's the guy.
Even Nero with his hokey violin couldn't follow him.
It's raining, and Heather isn't home yet.
That shouldn't bother a girl from London. She'll think she's back in Piccadilly.
No, that's just the point. That poor kid's been homesick lately. This rain just might start her off again.
Why don't we move to Death Valley?
Larry.
Hello, everyone.
Heather, honey, how are you?
Oh, it started to drizzle as I left the office, so I got off the subway a few stations early to walk in the rain. Oh, it was such fun.
Well, I do that myself sometimes. Maybe Heather's all hanging up in the kitchen.
Did you hear that, Dorothy? I thought you said the rain would make her homesick.
I hadn't really thought about it. I suppose it is a little like a London rain.
If you've seen one rain, you've seen them all. Come on, why don't you get ready for dinner, honey?
Maybe she'd like a hot cup of tea first.
Well, that's what Mummy used to give me on days like this.
Well, honey, I made some of those wonderful spaghetti with that sauce you loved so the last time.
Oh, thank you, Mrs. Walker, but I'm really not very hungry. I think I'll just dash off a letter home. I haven't written today yet. We did it again.
Oh, Eddie.
Now, Dorothy.
Oh, you had to bring up homesickness and tea. For a finish, why didn't you sing They'll Always Be in England?
She was cured.
Well, you've really depressed her. Larry, will you fill the water goblets for me and fix the silver? I'm going to go and talk to Heather.
Wait a minute, Dorothy, I'll go.
What are you going to do? Show her a picture of the Queen?
All she needs is a laugh.
No, I think you've done enough.
Dorothy, I made a living making people forget their troubles. When did you ever get a laugh?
The night I told my family I was marrying Eddie Walker, it brought down the house. You see? It still gets a laugh.
I'll handle Heather, and in 2 minutes she'll forget her trouble.
No. Honest.
Heather, may I come in?
Oh, please do, Mr. Walker.
Heather, I haven't told you my big joke I used in my routine at the palace.
I don't believe so.
There was 2 fleas came out of a movie, and one flea said to the other flea, should we walk or take a dog?
You got his laugh.
The flea joke never misses.
Oh, now you've got to give your father credit. He does have a way of cheering people up.
Oh, I give him credit. Half the time I tell him I've got a stomachache just so I can see his old routines again.
No, what are you doing?
Getting a scrapbook. That's always next.
Dorothy, you see my scrap?
Here, Dad.
Hi, Larry.
What'd I tell you?
Don't knock it. He may make Heather forget her homesickness after all.
Well, I better be ready with the next prop.
No, what's that?
After he shows his review from the palace, he does the number.
Dorothy, you know my straw hat and kid? I work alone, kid.
He hasn't worked this much since his retirement.
Some retirement. 3,500 farewell performances, not a living room.
See that he quits while he's still ahead.
This is for an opener. And I segued into my trenches.
When you get out of the trenches, dinner's ready.
Oh, he's just marvelous.
Dorothy. Oh, Paul, just send money. The old Walker magic still makes a hit.
Oh, you'll always be a hit in my heart, darling.
I think I'll teach Heather my routine.
Oh, no, she didn't come here to be a hoofer.
Any reason why she shouldn't be groomed to carry on the Walker tradition?
What about the Finch tradition? Just because Tommy owns a sporting goods shop, you don't see them trying to make Patty into a 6-day bike rider.
You're the American, aren't you? How'd you guess? You were pedaling on the wrong side of the Meuse. Patty, are you hurt? Only my dignity.
I'm afraid it's a lost cause. What I can't understand is how any girl could reach 18 without knowing how to ride a bicycle.
Well, most kids were learning to ride their first bikes. My father teaching me the time step.
Pity. Oh, have you met my chum Archie Carruthers?
Oh, we almost met. Head on. How do you do? I'm Patty Walker.
How do you do? Well, Arch, how are things at Wellington Hall?
Dreadful as usual.
It's a wonder you don't go out of your mind in a dreary school like that. You know, they haven't opened a window in that building since Oliver Cromwell was a student.
Now, that's not fair, Neville. They haven't got any windows.
Any chance of your father letting you stay at home next term?
No, it's a family curse. Carruthers men have always gone to Wellington Hall.
Shame. I suppose I'm lucky. My father was too poor to go away to school. Maybe that's what you need to help your balance. A sack of mail on your back.
Right now, I'll settle for one letter from home.
Cheerio, chum.
Cheerio. Thanks, Neville.
Right.
Hello, Neville.
Hello, Arthur.
Anything from America?
Can I have a look at the stamps?
Manners? Now, Patty, you didn't really think your father would let a day go by without writing, did you?
Well, not unless he was suddenly called to play a benefit. Thank you. Oh, would you excuse me? I'm afraid I brought half the news in with me.
Don't you want to hear what your sister has to say?
Can't be much. Only one stamp, and I've already got it in my collection.
Dear Mummy and Daddy, today I had my first New York rain, and for a moment I was homesick. But Mr. Walker didn't give me a chance to brood.
It was decent of him.
He spent hours showing me his scrapbook, which must be very boring to him since he knows every word in it by heart.
He used to do that in the air raid shelters during the war. Said it calmed the lad's nerves.
We all went to Radio City Music Hall and saw the Rockettes. And then, would you believe it, when we came home, Mr. Walker taught me their entire routine.
That's Eddie for you. He's got a heart as big as Buckingham Palace, he has.
He certainly has done everything to make Heather feel she's one of the family. I can't help wondering if Patty feels the same way about us.
Why shouldn't she? At tea time, you always give her first crack at the scones.
A family is not held together with orange marmalade.
What your mother means is, son, it's one thing to treat Patty as a guest, but it's another thing to make her feel like one of the family.
Well, you could give me first go at the scones.
Not quite what I had in mind. I need a cup of tea to help me think. Would you be a dear and go and put the kettle on?
Well, if it's that important.
That's a nice bit of strategy, old girl. What have you got on your mind?
Little pictures, you know. And it wouldn't do to lecture a man in front of his son.
What have I done now?
That's what you haven't done. Can you honestly say that you've been acting like a proper father to Patty?
Sybil, I promise you I haven't treated Patty any different from the way I treated Heather.
That's my point exactly. Possibly you've been living up to Heather's idea of a father, but Patty's father is a different cup of tea.
Well, it's too late to learn tap dancing if that's what you're driving at.
You don't have to be flamboyant to be fatherly. I'm only asking you to spend more time with her. Be a companion and a confidant, like Eddie is to Heather.
All right, love, if it'll make you feel any better, I'll give it a go.
The kettle was already on, Mum.
You mean it took you this time to find that out?
No. I wanted Mum to have enough time to give you a real ticking off.
That's very decent of you, old man.
Thank you, Neville. Enough of that, dear.
Sorry.
Everything all right at home, Patty?
Yes, thank you. Oh, Daddy's simply wild about Heather. They go everywhere together.
Yes, well, as soon as my business slackens off a bit.
And I envy her tonight. He's taking her to her first baseball game. The Yankees are playing.
Yankees?
Yes, one of their first-rate teams, from what I hear.
Oh, like our soccer teams. Bromwich Albion or Tottenham Hotspurs.
Dad used to play for Tottenham. He was their star goalkeeper.
Oh, never. I wasn't really a star.
He was. He once saved 2 penalties against Ipswich.
It was 3 penalties, and it was against Nottingham Forest.
Someday I'd like to see one of your soccer games.
I think it's high time she saw one now. Isn't it, Father?
Yes. Why didn't I think of that? Neville and I are going to the opening match on Saturday. Suppose I could try and pick up another ticket.
Not likely. It's been sold out for weeks.
Yes, well, perhaps next time.
Patty won't be with us next time. After all, a season can only open once a year.
Well, that's all right. I can see one of the later games.
Nonsense, dear. If a thing's worth doing at all, it's worth doing right.
But, Mum, all 3 of us can't go with only 2 tickets.
I'm perfectly well aware of that, Neville.
Really, Mrs. Finch, it doesn't make that much difference.
If I thought Patty really wanted to go, I'd let her have my seat.
Well, that's very sporting of you, Neville. All right, Patty, when I close the shop at Saturday at lunchtime, we'll go straight off.
Oh, no, I wouldn't dream of spoiling Neville's day.
Oh, don't worry about that, Patty. Neville would do exactly the same for his own sister. Wouldn't you, Neville? Wouldn't you, Neville?
Certainly, Mum.
There, I knew you'd understand, dear. I can't tell you what a comfort it is to a mother to know she's given birth to a gentleman. Neville,
Yes, Mum?
why don't you come in and listen to the game?
Oh, that's no good, Mum. Soccer's not much of a game for listening to. You have to see it to really appreciate it.
Well, I'm sure your father and Patty will tell you all about it when they get home.
I'm sure they will.
Neville, why don't you find Bertie and you could practice together?
Because Bertie's gone to the soccer match with his father. The same as Archie Carruthers and Philip Harlow and all the rest of my friends.
I know. Why don't you and I go inside and we'll play cribbage?
I'd love to. But you don't know how to play cribbage.
Well, I could learn. I was a crackerjack whist player.
Cribbage is a bit more complicated than whist.
Well, then, why don't we play chess? Oh, dear, only I get so confused as to whether it's the bishop or the knight that bumps about so peculiarly.
It's the knight.
Well, there you are. You see, I would have thought it was the bishop. Well, if you do think of something, dear, let me know.
Mum? Do you care for a go at soccer?
I'm not very athletic, you know. I was very delicate when I was a child.
Well, it's easy. All you have to do is throw it in the air so I can practice my headshots.
Oh. Well, that doesn't sound too strenuous. Where shall I throw it?
Anywhere up in the air towards me.
All right. Ooh, good show, Neville. You've certainly got some of your father in you. Okay?
Yes, please.
Jolly good, Neville. This is fun.
Would you care to have a go, Mum?
Oh, Neville, I couldn't.
That's very easy. Give me the ball. Ready? Mum, are you all right?
Neville, is that our phone ringing?
No, Mum. But I think we'd better try something else.
All right, dear.
You stand back here, and we'll imagine I'm the goalkeeper. And I'll show you how Dad saved the game for Tottenham Hotspurs when they won the cup. Now, you give it a good kick, and I'll stop it getting by me. All right, Mum.
Ready?
All set.
Neville, which foot do I use?
Either one. But in your case, the right one.
Thank you, dear. Well, here it comes.
Mum, a goal! Straight through Willie Shorthouse's window on your first try.
How many times have I told you to be careful with that ruddy ball?
I'm sorry, Mr. Shorthouse.
You're a menace and abuse.
I'll be glad to pay for the window with my pocket money.
You'll do nothing of the kind, Neville.
Now, look here, Sybil. You can't let this boy go unpunished.
I can because I kicked that ball.
Now, look, don't protect the lad. It's far better that he should face his responsibilities as a man.
I did kick that ball, Willie.
God, impossible.
Perhaps we'd better show Mr. Shorthouse how well you kick the ball.
Right, Neville.
Get there ready. Perhaps we'd better kick it out this way this time. Come on.
Ready?
All set.
Chunks of chocolate!
I'm ever so sorry, Willie. We'll have it repaired straight away.
Oh, no need for that. I deserve it. Should never have doubted the word of an Englishwoman.
Oh, dear. I'm afraid I've put a damper on the game.
That's all right, Mum. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Ned.
Oh, perhaps we'd better try a hand of cribbage.
Right.
Smashing, Mum.
A piece of cake.
And it was so exciting going with the man who was once a star soccer player. He taught me all about the game.
Great guy, that Tommy Finch. Got a house as big as the Yankee Stadium.
And after the game, we had a real treat. Beef and kidney pie at Simpson's on the Strand.
Yeah, the kids traveling first cabin.
Yeah. Then after dinner, we took a walk through Soho. I never had such fun. The way Mr. Finch has been treating me, it's like having a second father.
Oh, that's Soho. I remember when it... Second what?
A second father, isn't that sweet?
Where? Unbelievable. Well, at least you think enough to send me a photograph. Me and my British father. There's that father bit again.
Now that I think of it, they do look a little alike.
She looks like me and old Zip from the first day she was born.
Andy, stop carrying on.
This man is forging my daughter's mind against me.
Oh, now the only thing Tommy Finch is doing is trying to make Patty feel at home.
We only sent her over there for a year. We didn't put her up for adoption.
Oh, hi, Heather. How are you, darling?
Fine. Am I terribly late for dinner?
No, not at all. We were just reading a letter from Patty. She's been having a wonderful time with your father.
Wonderful guy, your dad. Really putting himself out for my little girl.
Oh, I shouldn't wonder. He always did want a second daughter.
See, she admits it. The British are a sneaky bunch.
Oh, Eddie, that's not fair.
I can just see his mind working, keeping us so busy she doesn't time to think of the folks back home.
Oh, now I'm sure Patty thinks about us every day.
And making himself out a big soccer star.
In other words, he's acting with Patty the way you're acting with Heather.
Heather's a normal, intelligent girl with good taste. Why shouldn't she become one of my fans?
Maybe Tommy Finch feels that way himself.
No contest. What can he offer Patty? Some heart-to-heart talk on soccer balls and sweat socks?
Am I interrupting?
Oh, no, Heather, no.
I was just wondering if you'd mind if I went to the cinema tonight.
Why don't you, Heather? You haven't had
I have a better idea. How about taking a good musical with me?
A musical? How marvelous.
I just happen to have 2 seats for no strings, unless you object to sitting in the first row.
First row? Oh, my hair. Oh, it's such a mess. I'll never get it tidied up in time. Oh, Mr. Walker, you're an absolute treasure.
Well, I couldn't let the seats go to waste.
To a hit show sold out 6 months in advance? And you have the nerve to accuse Tommy Finch of trying to steal your daughter.
Heather still calls me Mr. Walker.
Bully for you.
I'll show that soccer player has-been that blood is thicker than tea.
Like some more tea, dear?
No, thank you.
Want the last piece of toast, Dad?
No, thank you.
Good.
Patty, dear, didn't you say you had to go to the American Embassy this morning?
Oh, yes, and I'm supposed to be there at 9. I'd better get started.
Take your time. I can drop you off on the way to the shop.
I'll be ready in just a minute.
Dad? I ran into Charlie Lightfoot yesterday.
Oh, really? How was he?
Oh, he's all right. He and his father have just bought a little boat. They keep it moored near Teddington.
Oh, good for them. It's a lot of fun boating. I used to be rather good at it myself. I was known as the Terror of the Thames.
That's what I told Charlie when he said there'd be room for us this Sunday. If you'd care to drive down, Dad.
This Sunday?
Well, I thought Mum could pack a lunch and we could leave about 10 so we'd have a nice
No,
lot
I'm
of
sorry,
time.
Neville. I've promised to show Patty around the shop on Sunday. Your mother and I thought it might be rather nice to let her help out every so often. You know, make her feel more like one of the family.
But couldn't you do both? I mean, show her around the shop on Saturday.
Now, Neville, you know how busy we are in the shop on Saturday mornings.
But we wouldn't be out very long. Charlie says the boat has a bit of a leak.
No, I'm sorry, Neville. There's going to be plenty of time for boating and swimming with the Lightfoots. Right?
Right.
Neville, you understand, don't you?
Yes, sir. I understand.
Hello, Mr. Walker.
Hello, Miss Nelson. What can I do for you today?
My sister and I thought we'd like to see a plate.
Well, I happen to have 2 in the orchestra for the night of the iguana.
A friend of mine saw that and said that the animal is right on the stage.
Well, don't you worry about that. He's a very friendly iguana.
Well, I suppose he is, but haven't you something a little farther back?
How about 2 in the first row balcony? You'll be safe there.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Enjoy the show and give my best to the iguana. What can I do for you, madam? Always happy to take care of an out-of-towner. What's that?
That is the letter you wrote to Patty last night.
I guess Larry forgot to mail it.
Larry didn't forget to mail it. He gave it to me to censor.
Imagine being turned into the enemy by your own son.
We did it for your own good, not to mention Patty's. My dearest, darling, distant daughter, though you've been gone only a few short weeks, each one of them seems like a century to your lonely, miserable father.
It's true. What's wrong with letting her know how I feel?
Well, nothing if you don't mind making her feel like Benedict Arnold.
All right. So I'll take out miserable.
Wait a minute. It gets worse. How I remember the night you were born. There I was, pacing the floor of the hospital waiting room. Pacing the floor. The night Patty was born, you were playing a split week in Steubenville, Ohio.
So I was in Steubenville, but my heart was in the hospital.
Oh, Eddie, how could you? A grown man acting like a high school boy.
Since when is it a crime to remind her I'm a father?
Now, could anybody else's love and understanding mean more to Patty than her own father's?
Well, when you put it that way.
You don't have to remind Patty 24 hours a day that you love her. She has her whole lifetime to look back on and remember.
You're right. I'm ashamed of myself. How could anybody replace me?
Stop that. Are you man enough to tear this letter up?
Just watch me.
All right, now I'll just take those pieces,
What's the matter? Don't you trust me?
Yes, I trust you. I just don't trust that sticky tape you've got in the drawer.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi, Frank.
Oh, hello, Frank.
Hi, Dorothy.
Well, I'll see you later, Eddie.
Bye, Dorothy. Well, what can I do for you, Frank?
I just stopped by to exchange these tickets.
What do you mean? It's a great show. 1 million laughs.
I don't feel like laughing.
How about a ticket for Hamlet? That hasn't drawn a smile in 300 years.
Hamlet's perfect. I'd like to see a guy with a problem worse than mine.
Problem? What's your problem?
I begged my wife not to do it. I pleaded with her.
Plead, beg, why?
She let my daughter go away to school, and you know what? It's 6 months now and not one letter.
You're kidding.
Only the wedding announcement.
He's gonna be married?
She already has. He eloped 3 days ago. Oh, you're lucky, Eddie.
Yeah. I'm lucky?
Look at me. My daughter goes away already. She's forgotten what her father looks like. But why should I depress you with my problems? You're a happy father.
Yeah. I'm a happy father.
My daughter, Patty, a girl's best friend is her father. I can't understand why he went to all this trouble. I mean, I haven't been away from home long enough for him to think I've forgotten what he looks like.
Well, I must say it creates a bit of a problem. We haven't got a wall in the house big enough to take it.
Well, don't worry about it. We can just prop it up against something in my room for the time being.
Good idea. Neville, do you think you could manage to help Patty get her father through the bedroom door?
I can have a go. If she'll lead the way.
How are we going to manage?
You go first.
Put his head on my shoulder.
Right?
Easy does it. Oh, you're such a hand, Daddy.
Oh, one step.
Thank you, Neville.
Eddie.
Well, don't bend him. He'll think he's taking a bow.
Well, what do you think?
Same as you do, I'm afraid. That poor dear man must be worried to death about Patty.
A photograph I could understand. But that enormous thing. Do you know for a few quid more he spent on that package, he could have flown himself over?
Oh, you mustn't be too hard on Eddie. We can't blame him for thinking that Patty hasn't been accepted into our family the same way Heather has into his.
No, you can't blame him. But you can put him right. Hello? Overseas operator, please. Hello, operator. I'd like to put a call through to New York City, please. To Mr. Eddie Walker. Yes. The number's Murray Hill 31598.
Dorothy, why'd you set the alarm so early?
Oh, Eddie, it's the telephone.
You'd be calling at a time like this.
Why, a little anthem.
Hello? Yeah, this is Mr. Walker. London calling.
London?
Patty must have been hit with a soccer ball. Yeah, Tommy, when did it happen?
When did what happen? No. Everything's fine. Couldn't be better.
Yeah? Really? He says she's having the time of her life. A real member of the family by now.
Look, Sybil and I couldn't love Patty any more, even if she were our own daughter.
Here, you take it. I feel faint.
Hello, Tommy. This is Dorothy. Oh, is that so? Really? He says she feels completely at home in London.
I'll hang up.
Yes, well, that's marvelous. Just the way it should be. He says she hardly even speaks about us anymore. Yes, well, you were wonderful to call, Tommy. Give my love to Sybil.
Hello. I'm sorry, 3 minutes are up. Goodbye, Dorothy, and don't worry. Everything is fine. Cheerio. Well, I don't mind telling you that puts my mind at rest.
Yours and Eddie's. It was the least we could do under the circumstances.
Believe me, love, he'll sleep like a baby tonight.
Fair Exchange has been brought to you by the Ralston folks of Checkerboard Square, makers of wheat checks, rice checks, and corn checks, with all three now in Chex Mates.